House leaders Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer, they tried to explain why you, the American people, are so angry. And they wrote in USA Today that, quote, these disruptions are occurring because opponents are afraid not just of differing views, but of the facts themselves. Drowning out opposing views is simply, they say, un-American. Now, the White House later today tried to quickly distance themselves from these comments, but at this point, well, the Democrats have compared those of us who oppose health care. They've compared us to Nazis. They've called us brown shirts, crazed mobsters that are manufactured by the RNC, and now they're accusing people of being un-American, all in an effort to shut down dissent. So they steamroll this bill through Congress. Will they be successful? Well, this sounds like as American as apple pie when people are speaking out. Joining me now to discuss all of this, the author of the New York Times bestseller, Catastrophe, Dick Morris is here. Dick, how are you?
Here.
Drowning out opposing views is simply un-American. They called the DNC called the American people mobsters. Congressmen have referred to these people as being like Tim McVeigh, Nazis, political terrorists, and the president himself wants everyone to shut up. What are they thinking?
Well, they're not only going to shut them up, they're going to vote. They're going to cut off debate with 50 votes in the Senate and jam it through. Look. This only worked when Nixon did it because the demonstrators were 18-year-olds with hair down to their ankles. And everybody said they're burning draft cards, they're un-American, and that worked. Here, they're senior citizens. They're people in wheelchairs. Now, maybe 40 years ago, they demonstrated with their hairs cut now. And you know, it's becoming very clear that the opposition comes from the elderly. And the reason the elderly are this upset is because the Congress is about to jam through, literally, with 50 votes, Biden breaking the tie if necessary, with 50 votes, a $500 billion cut in Medicare. Now, I worked for, pardon the expression, Bill Clinton, and you and I were on opposite sides in 95 and 96, and my big thing was opposing cuts in Medicare. Now, the Democrats are pushing through exactly those cuts.
Well, the Republicans, this is an interesting reminder, because the Republicans were trying to reduce the rate of growth to 7% a year, every year for 7 years, which was twice the rate of inflation. And the Democrats, kind of successfully, said the Republicans want to take away your Medicare.
Exactly.
It's not working here. Is this evidence, though, and we're going to show a lot more tape tonight. Folks, you're not going to believe the video we'll show you tonight. Is this evidence that Democrats have lost control of the message when they attack people?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would urge people to go to these town meetings. I would urge you to look at Chapter 4 of my book, Catastrophe, that gives you all the facts about health care. And then I would urge you to go on websites, mine, dickmorris.com. We've raised $400,000 for ads in Maine and Arkansas and so on to influence senators. But above all, go to the meetings and don't listen to the people, some of whom spoke earlier on this station, that you should be very nice and polite and stick your hand up and ask mild-mannered questions. Nonsense. These people are trying to take away your health care in 6 weeks, jamming it through a compliant Senate without debate and without people even reading the bill.
Well, let me ask you this, because now the Democrats, even the president is encouraging, you know, that some of his supporters, that they infiltrate these events to create a confrontation. Are they creating a scenario where now we're going to show video later, violence erupting at some of these meetings? Are they creating that by purposefully trying to silence and intimidate regular citizens?
I think they are. I think those thugs that you showed at one of those other things are evidence of that. But the point is, these are old people demonstrating. You can't convince somebody that a 70, you know, it's just like the Veterans March in the New Deal, where they camped outside, they called it Hoovervilles on the White House lawn, and the president tried to make these old people who are World War I veterans seen as Bolsheviks and un-American. It's the same thing. People are looking at what does it take to get a senior citizen to go to a meeting and to raise Cain like this, and they understand that this is a dagger aimed at the heart of the elderly.
Now, the president in a conference call meeting with some bloggers indicated that he would be willing to bypass the regular process where we'd have to have a filibuster in the Senate or a filibuster-proof vote. Chuck Schumer wants to ram this thing through by September 15th. If they go by reconciliation, which I think they have some technical difficulties, in other words, if they don't have enough votes,
right,
and so they try and ram this down America's throats, right, what is the political outcome of that?
Well, first of all, I think they will. I don't think they'll get Republican support, at least I hope they don't. And I think they will try to do it with 50 votes on reconciliation, the so-called nuclear option. But I think they can be defeated. Yeah. Max Baucus and John Tester come from a red state, Montana. Dorgan and Conrad, Democrats from a red state, North Dakota. Johnson, a red state, South Dakota. Pryor and Landrieu and Lincoln, a red state, Arkansas. If you get all of these red state Democrats to start seeing red because there are ads in their state and senior citizens are going crazy, let me say this about the Democratic Party. They will pass this no matter what the polls say. But if they feel that the elderly, their core constituency, is turning on them, that they're almost repealing FDR's coalition, and that the elderly are now becoming an anti-Obama group, they will not mess with that.
I want to go into that a little bit more deeply here, because a lot of these Democrats are scared to death, and they're canceling these town hall meetings, and they're opting for, you know, telephone town hall meetings, because they don't want this video, and they don't want to be confronted, which, by the way, what a bunch of gutless weasels. I mean, it's ridiculous. But the Democrats, the Blue Dogs, when they get called into the White House, and they've had their August recess, and when early September comes and they go back to work, and Obama, Pelosi, and Reid are twisting their arm, which way are they going to go, Dick?
If they are not terrorized during August by the public outpouring, and they don't have thousands and thousands of handwritten letters on their doorstep waiting for them when they return from the August recess, they'll fold. But if they absolutely get an outpouring of public opinion, I think we can win this thing. Right now, I'd give you 50-50, because there are enough Democrats who will be intimidated by that kind of a massive outpouring.
Have you ever, though...
You have to do it. You have to write the letter.
I still, tactically, strategically, this was your business. Polling, you'd follow the numbers, you'd watch public opinion. But to go out there and refer to the American people and say, this is the Speaker of the House. They're the swastikas, they're un-American, they're mobsters. I've never in my lifetime witnessed something that I thought was so politically stupid than what we're witnessing here.
Particularly the elderly. And after all, one of the things that annoys me is that in Washington they're debating the public option versus the private options. And I don't much care. You don't kill the public option, but it's the same thing. What's happening is too many patients and too few doctors, and that's common to all these bills. So senior citizens are upset about the plug being pulled on their health care. And naturally they're reacting viscerally. They should. They need to.
Dick, congrats on the book. Thanks.
Thank you.